Hey, welcome to another radio video. So, there's international broadcast bands, there's utilities, there's all sorts of things on shortwave. But one of the cool things there is also is amateur radio operators. If you truly want to DX the world, the amateur radio bands are the place for that. It's really cool and you can listen to the world. Now, you need single sideband, even though, yeah, there are some AMers on a few frequencies in the amateur band. Most of the transmissions you'll hear are in single sideband. So that's another place that I love tuning around. And I'll often go, 10 meters, 15 meters, 20 meters, 40 meters. That's 28 megahertz, 21, 20, 14 megahertz, 7 megahertz, also the little bark bands with like 17 meters, which is 18 megahertz. So it's cool, I'll often go into the bands and start, like, for example, 14100, because that's pretty much where SSB voice pretty much starts, and tune around. You need single sideband, and you just tune around the bands and see what you can hear. Now, amateur stations are use much less power than international broadcasts, so sometimes they're weaker. But it is interesting to go through the bands and see what you can hear. So of course you gotta obey with the times. What time of day is it? Are you daytime or nighttime? Of course daytime means it's probably gonna be more like 20 meters, 14 megahertz, 15 meters, 21 megahertz, or 17 meters, around 18100 to 18168 for a USB voice. In the nighttime, you'll have 40 meters, which is 7,000 kilohertz to 7,300. 80 meters, 3,500 to 4,000 kilohertz. And of course, 14 megahertz and up is upper sideband. 7 megahertz, 80 meters, 40 meters, 7 megahertz, 3.5 megahertz are lower sideband. But tune around, because it's very amazing what you can hear. Now, what tool do I use to identify the stations? That's, of course, one thing that will come to mind to pretty much everybody. So here I go, lower sideband on 40 meters.
Luca called me many times and nothing. Now your signal is very strong. Okay, Bill, thank you very much. Now the microphone now for Luca, for the other station. Go ahead, Luca.
Stations will, at certain intervals, give out their call signs in phonetic alphabet. So they can ID. I don't know, you can get a station from the United States that's going to say, hey, this is Kilo 1 Alpha Alpha Charlie. That means K1 AAC. First letter of the word is the letter. The reason they use phonetic alphabet like Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, Echo, and so on is just because sometimes just pronouncing a letter is a little hard to understand when it's noisy. And not just that, I've heard people talking in English with an accent so strong that it was almost impossible to make out what letter he was mentioning. And you understand when he uses the phonetic alphabet to do it. So, okay, station IDs. How do the hell I know where it is from? That's where your computer will help. So I just said Kilo 1 Alpha Alpha Charlie. What you do when you do that is that, okay, so it's K1AAC, and what you'll do is you'll use your computer And in your computer, you're going to go to a website that is qrz.com or qrz.com. So in the address, I'm going to say qrz.com. Now, if you want to have more information, you need to sign up. It's free, but you can sign up for the call sign check. So you see my Tech Guy Montreal is here. This is I'm signed up to the website. And so I'll enter K1 AAC, Kilo 1 Alpha Alpha Charlie, press enter. Immediately, when the call sign is correct, what you get is a station's full, sorry, I clicked the wrong thing here. So you have the full information of who it is, where he lives, his location and everything in the country. Some have extremely nice pictures. So, you know, depending on the station you'll hear, some have pictures of their antennas, their, their shack. Some have all sorts of things that are interesting. Another website to remember also, because QRZ.com has one problem. If you're not an amateur radio operator, you are limited to 25 searches per day. Now, for most regular listening, it's enough. But in contests, or if you do a lot of amateur radio listening, that can get a little small. So there's another one called QRZCQ.com. And that one, you don't have to register, but doesn't have a limit. So you can do the same search, K1AAC, in the box, click search. It has an interesting thing though, is that it has a little map on the right side of your screen that actually pinpoints where that station is on Google Maps. So basically you can check it out here and say, oh, this is nice. That station is located in Missouri, for example, or Illinois, or, it's going to show you around where it is. So, basically, you will use this and find your stations and check it out on the map. Now, it says Illinois here, but it says Missouri here, so it's kind of weird on the map. But at least the information here might be better. Let's just compare, because it's interesting. The first time I see that there's a kind of a difference. Let's go to QRZ.com again. Not QRZCQ, QRZ.com. Let's do K1AAC. And so here's going to say in Illinois 61547. Let's check it out here. Yeah, this is okay. So the information's okay. Maybe the map is not always good. But at least, you have two places, QRZ.com and QRZCQ.com, to check out your amateur radio call signs. So it's fun because you can actually know when to listen, where a station comes from, and have an idea of what country you're listening to maybe. And listening to amateur radio operators is fun because sometimes it's just contacts, sometimes it's just boring, sometimes it's just an exchange of numbers, sometimes you got some real cool conversations, sometimes it's technical conversations that help you learn more about all sorts of things. And one of the things I like to do also is that there's a DX cluster that I use, which let's go on to the Google browser here. So I've got DX cluster here, right here, which is dxwatch.com. I often like to check that because dxwatch.com will give me information of actual stations live right now. So for example here, I see down 14222, there's a station from Serbia, YT2KMD, that has talked to VA3YP. That is near me because I'm in Quebec, which is VA2 or VE2. So I could decide, oh, this looks really interesting. So why not tune on my radio to 14222 and have a listen. If I hear anything from the DX targets that I'm looking at. So this is really cool because it helps you see DX in live, pretty much live. So for example, here you've got LU3 for Argentina, 14218. You say, hey, I want to try that. So you just go on your radio and you tune around 14218. And you check out if you hear anything. And if you do, you're just like happy. Now one thing you need to do is be patient. Many times when you tune a frequency, you hear only one side of the conversation. And that means that there could be several minutes you don't hear anything, but suddenly you hear something. So you gotta, be patient sometimes. You don't always hear both sides. And it's really cool. The amateur radio bands are really, really interesting to listen to if you want to listen to the world. The other day when we had the live Tuning the Bands hangout, we were listening to a station from Norway that was booming into Europe and North America. It was really cool to listen to. And it makes you hear countries you won't hear on shortwave bands like, the international broadcast bands. So, it's a good thing. It's something interesting to listen to, and it also will kind of help you with your skills in tuning around single sideband signals. So here it goes. You see on that 14218, I just heard something. So it could be a station calling Argentina, but there was a station calling in. So, it's listening to and going through the amateur bands. And I'll have a video, once again, with the amateur radio bands and the shortwave spectrum, what the frequencies are and the modes used. So that's another way of listening to shortwave that I enjoy a lot. And it is listening to international amateur radio bands and listening to amateur radio operators. If you enjoy my videos, please subscribe to my channel, give us thumbs up. Hope you enjoyed this series on, the kind of introduction of what I do and what I like to listen to on the shortwave bands. It's aimed at the beginner, but I think even more seasoned shortwave listeners might actually learn a few things.